I think that the time has come for us to be very factual. Somebody said something here that got me a bit. Someone said that we shouldn't respond to, but believe me, every bat is a potential obedient. Believe me completely. And so I don't doubt the senator. If he's coming over, you just heard what Igwe said here. I don't doubt him. Most people do not know that if I wear a bit faithless, I would be with the bat campaign, and at best one of the leaders of a campaign now. I anchored one of the Buhari's campaign organizations in 2014, 2015. I was a DG Change Ambassadors of Nigeria. I managed, before the APC primaries, my friend's project, GYB, who has begged me. And so many of you here know the figures they've sent to me and vehicles asking me to come work for them. Let me say clearly here that what is important is for our brother senator to understand that we're not just pro-OB because we are being partisan. We're pro-OB not necessarily because he's a saint. We're pro-OB because of the 4 leading candidates is the best. We're pro-OB because we have to take back our country. We're pro-OB because he's not because he's infallible. If they can be fair to their God and their conscience, I say this without equivocation, that in comparative leadership analysis, Obi's performance, and I challenge Senator to any debate on it, Obi's performance dwarfs the performance of Tinubu and Fashola put together in comparative business analysis and developmental analysis. Go check it anywhere in the world. You don't meet a man who has revenue, natural existential revenue of 40 billion, and challenge his development of someone whose existential revenue, I'm talking about Anambra and Lagos, is 4 billion. With what Obi did in Anambra State, for 5 years, Anambra was the safest state in Nigeria, from number 26 in education to number 1. What are you talking about? Show me. I have told them. I said, if it would have been difficult for some of us here, if the APC had chosen Yemi Osinbajo, it would have been difficult for some of us here, because it will be about capacity, the mind, the working of the mind against the working of the mind. We would have been talking about the mental capacity of a P2B against the mental capacity of a Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Not about Obi and a man who has refused who in the most critical time did not even speak up against, because he wants to be in power. Asiwaju has shown complete desperation for the #1 position, and even for our brothers who are Muslims. The whole Quran says, do not give power to a desperate man. If the Quran will ask you to give power to an infidel. And a Christian, according to the whole Quran, is not an infidel. Give power to an infidel instead of giving it to a desperate Muslim. That's the truth. So it's not about religion either. For us, what we're talking about is taking back our country. My brothers and sisters, it is clear that we're at the point in history where young people have risen up. And they're not just being emotional or emotive. They're being factual, realistic, and logical. They're saying that if we do not save our country now, we'll all be in trouble. And indirectly, those who weave deceit and perfidy are trying to draw it around, because all that the APC, you saw their rallies now. You saw where they were giving people 1,000 naira, 500 naira. None of their crowd has come out on their own individual behest. And don't forget that they weaponized poverty so that they can always take the people for granted. But interestingly, the universe has brought us an opportunity to take back our country. And that is why I would beg of every one of us here, do not adopt this tendency of saying, oh, let's not respond to them. No, let's have them. Let's talk with them. Let's debate them. You know, I'd asked somebody yesterday, two simple questions. Every time you jump up and say, Obi made a mistake, why is your candidate not talking if he's of sound mind? Every time you jump out of the space and say, oh, he's lying, where in the world is an error in statistics a lie? Every human being makes mistakes in statistics. Where in the world is it called a lie? That's how they have reduced the bar. They have lowered every intellectual, moral, and psychological bar. They brought it to the low. All they do is lie to themselves. I jumped into a space, one of their spaces this morning, and I'm going to baffle you. One of them was talking proudly and said that there is no correlation between old age and death. And I said, a young man said this? Well, in statistics and potential graphics, all over the world, it is known that an old man is more likely to die than a young man. Am I lying? So I don't know where they have gone mortally low. And then all over the world, statistics proves that an old man is more likely to go senile than a young person. All over the world, it is proven that an old man is very more likely to be dysfunctional than a young man. And I don't understand where these young people get this. For whatever price, it is strange. It is benumbing. It is baffling. But you know what? I've told myself, if you look at my status from time to time and my tweets, you will understand. I've told myself that I will always engage them, because I found out that the reason we campaign is to get to the undecided voters and perhaps win over those who are on the borderline. You may be surprised to find out that people like Senator enjoy this space because they are closet obedience. We have a lot of them in government who, in their offices, they will challenge Obi. When they get back to their homes, they are obedience. So I do sincerely believe. Now let me tell you, so that I don't take so much of the time here. I do sincerely believe that we must continue to preach the obedient message like the Crusades of old, like the evangelicals, like Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, in Arabia, when he was moving from house to house, telling the people about the new way. We must not get tired. They think we'll run out of steam. No, but we won't run out of steam. We'll get stronger, bolder, and more committed. Even if they bring out false statistics, even their own poll came with a caveat. Their polls came with a caveat that if Tinubu were to win, people will not accept it. And they are indirectly saying that the obedience will not accept it. You know what they're trying to do? Give a caveat for what they intend to do, rig the election, but they can't rig it, because INEC has human beings at the helm of affairs. And it was a long time ago, Obafemi Awolowo, who said regarding the elections in the old Oyo state, that when you try to rig and you find 1,000,001 people around you saying, this is the man, it is Bola Ige we want, for instance, when you see 1,000,001 people saying, well, obedience, You know, that's why I love what we're doing, and we're getting across to obedience in our localities. We're getting across to obedience in our units. Let us form a huge family of people who believe in the message that we're preaching. Tell them out there that we're not saying that Obi is a saint. There is no human being who's a saint. I've always told my friends that the letters of the word saint is the same as the word stain. For as long as we're human beings, we got stains. So, Obi is not a saint, but of the four leading candidates, he is the best. He is the most mentally prepared. He has the best capacity and competency for the job. And I say this without equivocation. I can take anybody to the cleaners and a debate on this, because I don't know how you will sell a candidate who is afraid of coming to the TV for a live interview. How you will entrust your lives and the destinies of your people to that candidate. I don't know, for whatever reason. And then to the man who crept into the United States of America, of course, in 2018, he did that under the anonymity of numbers. And I'm talking about Atiku Abubakar, whose entry into the US is always celebrated because they fear he will be arrested. So they have to go through a lot of course, you know why they fear he will be arrested. His partners in a business deal, money laundering, are still in jail in America. So if his partners are in jail, you can make your conjectures. The witch cried last night, the child dies this morning. You can make your inferences. Brothers and sisters, interestingly, within the past 1 week, we have seen a lot in our political space. We've seen those who are consistently lying to the people and trying to whip up sentiments. Don't forget that initially they said, oh, it's a social media creation. The obedience are just on social media. Once they said it would 4 persons chatting, tweeting in a room. All that has lost life and steam. Now, when the rally started, they said, oh, it's a tiny crowd of people who do not have their PVCs. That has died a natural death. Now the new gimmick is to say, oh, they will run out of steam. Indeed, we're getting stronger by the day. And I want to urge you on and beg of you not to tire out. I'm begging you to continue to preach the message and do it as though your lives depend on it, because it does. And I'll tell you the truth, our lives depend on what we do with 2023 for 3 reasons. The first is the fact that with the flood across 31 states of the country, there's going to be monstrous food shortage. The economy will be in trouble. Ask yourself of the leading candidates, who is the best, who is the most likely to manage a country without resources. We know who can do that best, and that's Peter Gregory Obi. That's the truth. So when you talk with the Agbado people, don't fear. Ask them, with this impending gross food shortage, because all the Agbado people know how to do is spend money and carry bullion vans, who can best manage the economy? They know the answer, and that's our future. Our life depends on it. Then number 2, which is very important, with a country that has suffered monstrous oil theft, such that our economy is in trouble, who is likely, which of the candidates does not have friends involved in oil theft? Let's be frank. Who is the most unlikely to dine and wine with them in their bedrooms while they steal oil? Who brought up the issue? Don't forget that all these things about the oil theft came up when our principal said that oil theft is not by normal individuals, that oil theft is not like walking into a shop and stealing sweet and putting it in your pocket. It was after P2B raised up these issues that this whole story about, oh, a certain conduit for stealing of oil was found and is 9 years old. These same people think that is a positive for them. If people have been stealing oil for 9 years, and majorly you have been in power for 7 years, who is the leading thief? Who is the major thief? Who is the chief thief? It's the same people. So when they think that they are smart, they indict themselves. Ask the senator and several, who has been the thief stealing oil for 9 years under a government that's been in power for 7 years. It's simple now. Then the third one, which is very important, is that there's only one candidate that's consistently said what he will do, spoken to the people. We have seen him on TV, we have seen him on radio, we've seen him across the country. He's the person who can hold responsible for the things he has said. The others will tell us, oh, I wasn't the one who said it was Festus Keyamo. I wasn't the one who said it was Daniel Bwalia. It wasn't Daniel Bwala. I wasn't the one who said it was Dino Melaye. I wasn't the one who said it was who is the other spokesperson for the APC? It was Ebo Nanuga. They will look for several alibis. In P2B, we'll have a candidate who can hold responsible for the promises and what he has said. So these are fundamental issues. Do not shy away from engaging them. Because if you think that they don't know what they're doing, as he had the DG of Change Ambassadors of Nigeria in 2014, 2015, we deliberately engaged all the Jonathan people. We were doing it to frustrate them. We were doing it to take control of the social media space. And they got tired and frustrated. And they let us run the show. That's what they're looking for now. Anywhere you see a post made by an obedient, like, comment, share.